Right, so now we have discussed classes and objects, and now we are going to move on to the next topic, which is inheritance. So basically, you must have heard about this word inheritance. Inheritance is used to extend the features of a class. So let's suppose I want to create another class that has same number of attributes, like it has marks and name, but it also has some additional features, additional attributes and methods. So instead of rewriting the whole code again and again, what we are going to do is we are going to inherit this new class from this class, and we are going to provide the additional elements in the inherited class. So it's just like inheritance in real life. There is a parent and there is a child. The parent has some properties and the child has properties of the parents, like skin color or eye color or some more features. Plus the child will have some more additional features. Similarly, inheritance in Python or in any programming language is also the same. You can create a class. So let's suppose this class student is the parent class or base class. You can call it anything, parent class or the base class. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another class, which is the tournament class. And now I'm going to inherit the properties of the class student. You can do that using this. You can see that these are the circular braces, and inside it I have provided the name of the parent class, which is student. Right, so now this is the derived class, as you can see here. So now what you can do here is, when you have created a class tournament which is inheriting the properties or the attributes and the functions of the base class, you can create you don't need to reassign or recreate these attributes in this class. When you will create an object of class tournament, you can already access these members and methods. So you can create some additional properties in here, and if you do not want to create some additional properties in here, you can just write the pass keyword. So it will just pass all the arguments and methods to the top or the parent or the base class. Right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write a comment here. So if you do not want this class to contain attributes and methods, you can just specify this pass keyword, or you can even just create some more attributes or method inside this tournament class. So let's now create an object of this class tournament. So this is how we create an object of this class tournament. But remember, since this tournament class is inheriting properties from the base class, it will also call this constructor, which is init function, automatically. So in that case, you will also have to provide the arguments in here as you were providing it in the base class. So let's run this program like this. So if you're not providing any elements, it will just display an error. You can see that in this line it says that init function is missing two required positional arguments, new marks and new name. Right, so whenever you derive a class, you are actually deriving all the methods, and you are also deriving this init method, which is the constructor of the class student. So when you will call this, when you will create this, you will have to pass some two arguments as the same number of arguments. So let's just name it as tournament student, right? So I'm passing two values here, which is 55 and tournament statement, right? So now let's call the calculate function, calculate marks function, using the object of this tournament class. You can see that I've not created any calculate marks function inside this tournament class, but since this tournament class is inheriting methods and attributes from the derived class, you can see that this will call this function, right? And we have already provided self here, so it will reference to object 2 now, not to object 1, sorry, not to obj object. So it will not display 95 and Vishal, it will display 55 and tournament student now. So let's run this. So 55 plus 10 is 65, so it will display 65 here. That's the main use of calculate marks function. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to print the attributes of this tournament class. Sorry, I'm going to use the object of the tournament class to access the attributes of the base class or the derived class, which is marks and name, right? So since we have called the tournament function, the tournament, we have created an object of this tournament class, it will pass it marks and the name. And since we are using this self keyword in here, then this means that the object 2 will have marks and name as 55 and tournament student. So if we will access object 2.marks, it is going to display 55, but if we will write object.marks, it is going to display 95. That's the main use of self keyword. So I'm also going to display the name. So now you can see here we have displayed the marks, which is 65 now, and the tournament student is the name of the student. So this is how you can perform inheritance in Python. This is how you can use the pass keyword, and this is how you can use the self keyword. Init is a constructor, and you can access the members. So by default all the members of this class are public, so they can be accessed anywhere outside this program. So some other program can also access these members. So if you want these members to be private, so that only the functions of this class can access them, you can do that by just specifying 2 underscores in front of the values like this. So if you will try to access these members outside of the class like this, it is going to give you an error. So after running this, you can see that if you are going to make it, you will have to use underscores here also, double underscores, and similarly here also. So when you will do that, it makes the marks field and the name field as private. So when you will press Control Enter, when you will run this program, it will give you an error like this. It says that you cannot, student object has no attribute marks, and this is because you are accessing the marks attribute outside the class, which is private by default. So if you will use double underscores, it will be private, so it can be accessed within the class. So if you want to access marks attribute inside this tournament class, you cannot do that because it is private to this class. So if you want to this marks field to be accessible in this class student and also in the subclasses, but not outside this subclasses, you can make them protected, and for that you can just specify 1 underscore. Right, so protected or one underscore means that this marks field is accessible in the student class and all the child classes or the derived classes, but not outside this program. So that's the main use of double underscores and a single underscores.